Time for a real K&C podcast first. Ken Laird in this location.
Chris Curtis in Fort Myers.
How about that?
Wow!
February 21st, 2017. K&C on location at JetBlue Park. Why don't you set the scene for us, Curtis? Where are you? What are you watching right now?
I am sitting in Tim Neverrett's seat now.
Ooh.
This is absolutely incredible.
I mean, it is epic.
Are you sitting on media guides or no?
I don't know if people know how many outs there are. That's 3 outs.
I have them nestled next to me. I just flipped over. I found out that Brock Holt had a dog.
Astro and...
Very exciting. And I am looking out onto the JetBlue Park field where they've moved to left field. And they're hitting some balls. Some fun goes off of the fake monster down here, and you would be 6 to midnight right now.
Under a brilliant Southwest Florida sun, the Red Sox took part in a 2-hour workout.
I imagine Kirk and Jerry have stuck around after the show to watch this scintillating, someone would say fascinating activity.
Fascinating.
Jerry's actually the cutoff man.
He is in the rotation, and he takes a turn.
With Dave Dombrowski's son.
Oh, yeah.
Trent, he also does it during batting practice.
Yes.
So he'll do BP. He'll be in a rotation with guys. Alan Craig, and then Landon Dombrowski.
Minahan and Butterfield are breaking down the Patriots draft plans. It's actually pretty exciting. So a lot of work being done by Kirk and Jerry as we speak, and quite the Tuesday edition of the show.
Kirk and John Farrell arm in arms, I'm sure, in the JetBlue clubhouse. How was the tension? Give me the behind the scenes here. What was it like?
So a little awkward. So we went late at the end of the 6 o'clock hour. And so Farrell arrives with like 3 minutes left still in the break.
Oh, I could hear it down the line. Like Jerry asked 4 or 5 odd, awkward questions.
Mike
and that
Trout
was it.
MVP talk.
I was surprised you got here this early. Everything is set. The manager doesn't have to make any decisions at all.
So Minahan is sitting, in the middle. So it's John Farrell where I am now, Minahan, and then Callahan. And so Farrell just takes a seat.
I walked in on a conversation or a question about something. What do you got, Jerry?
And Minahan is looking at his phone. He's not really making much eye contact.
Extraordinarily awkward.
And Jerry's like noticing that it's a little awkward. And Doug Lane is there, and so they're trying to sort of do small talk. And so Jerry's like, yeah, everybody's picking you first, like flipping through the Athlon, media guide.
I mean, you're loaded. You're loaded.
And he's like, well, Mike Trout's got to be the MVP, right? And Farrell's like, yeah. You can just see Minahan just like not even acknowledging Farrell until the interview started. So that was a power move by Kirk.
I'm the show.
And then I thought the interview went well. I thought, every question was asked. Kirk basically said everything he said on the show to him to his face.
Joining us right now is the manager of the Boston Red Sox, John Farrell. I was very critical of you last year. I think you struggled in-game.
I'm not perfect.
Do you recognize the criticism, or do you think it's unfair?
I think that's all part of Boston.
Do you think you're a good in-game manager?
I don't know that you have all the information available for those decisions that are made in
absolutely,
game.
Sure.
So I understand there's going to be two sides, and the great thing about our game, it's debatable.
And Farrell did a good acting job because, if you were in your car, you could tell he didn't really want to get into the personal stuff.
Did you think last year, the stuff that went on with you personally, do you feel like that was handled properly? Is that something that you regret the way it came out?
Anything personal, I'll prefer to keep it to that.
But I guess my question is, stuff like that, was that ever a distraction for the team when the season started or no?
No, again, anything personal, that's where it stays.
But he wasn't, raising his voice or, yelling. But the second the interview ended, got up, turned stage left, threw his cup out in the trash, and was out the door.
Yeah, that was
no
a quick
goodbye,
departure. Ooh.
Nothing.
You're done with us for a year. You can deal with Dale and Holly now. It's much easier. Much easier.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thanks, you, John.
I don't think he's going to be, hanging out this afternoon by the pool at the hotel with us, but I think Jerry made the point that he did exactly what he should have done. Because if he said no, we would have killed him.
He's got nothing in his head.
And if he came on, for our purposes, it would have been great if he started yelling at Kirk, but then it would have shown that Kirk got to him. So He played it the way he should have.
R.A. Laird, you want to give me a ding here for I correctly predicted he would come on?
I think I gave it a 10% chance, and I said you were a moron, which very well may be true.
My wife would agree, yeah.
You're a moron!
But no, yeah, you nailed this. You said he's definitely coming on. Well, I guess I got to give some blame to my sources who were telling me that there was no chance he was coming on.
Well, it's Dave O'Brien's playbook. Now that D.O.B. has come on the podcast, kiss the ring.
Come on, I don't dye my hair. I mean, I put a little gel in it. It looks darker.
And Kirk has been kind. We're not in season yet, but it works.
We had a good time. Dave's a good guy. I've been consistent from day one since the start of last year. He does a good job in that Red Sox broadcast.
Flattery gets you somewhere with Kirk.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because we had Shaughnessy is now stopping by every day after the show. He pops in right at the end of the show to talk to him and Kirk are actually at Jimmy John's right now having an Italian sandwich together.
I hate you guys.
Well, yeah, that was yesterday. We, of course, didn't do a post-show podcast yesterday, but Shaughnessy was forced into coming on. Callahan basically, it sounded like, just put the headset on him as he was walking past. Was that basically how it went?
Yeah, no, he came in to give them the double bird. And so Jerry's like, put the headphones on him. So he wanted to do it. There was no major issue there. I put the headphones on him. He sat down. He got a little clammed up. And then the thing that pissed him off the most was that I took a picture of him.
What are we doing? Tweeting? We're sending out. I'm going to get in more trouble here. We're sending out things here now. And
what?
And
well, you're already on.
I just took your
the fact that you're on, I think is sort of.
It's an extortion. You guys like the mafia. If you don't come on, we will kill you.
Well, you walked in here. No gun here.
Came in to give you the finger. So no, I have to go.
Hey, moron! We're on 7 stations in New England.
Mo Ron. First name Mo, last name Ron.
The most listened to show in Boston and New England. My tweet with 40,000 followers is going to be what catches you.
I have to go now.
That is our sister station now, 98.5. I don't know what he's so worried about. He's worried about his contract.
Well, I should be honest here. I actually just spoke with him about 20 minutes ago, and I said, hey, thanks for coming on, because he was pissed at me, and I was like, I wasn't trying to be an ass. And he's like, oh, no, well, I haven't heard anything, so I think I'm in the clear. So I think Shaughnessy is going to be back in the good graces. I could see him on this show on a regular basis in the not-too-distant future.
The greatest boss ever.
Part of the family. Good. Let's get to the most important things. How are the accommodations? Kirk has been bitching about the car.
What is it you got?
I believe it's a Dodge Dart.
More so, the hotel must be good.
It's fine. I mean, the hotel's great. We have a suite.
Sweet.
The issue with Fort Myers, though, is that to get anywhere near the beaches or whatever, there is massive traffic here.
Cutting-edge traffic light technology.
No matter where you go. I think it being school vacation week in Boston and a lot of people down here for spring training adds to it, but driving anywhere sucks. But Minahan is grumpy about the heat because he can't run as far, and he's mad at Jerry and I because we dared bring family.
Yeah. Everybody's got their families here. I'm here alone just trying to work.
So he's doesn't have his normal buddies to go out with, which I thought would make him happy in my case. But I think he mentioned on the air that Jerry hasn't invited him to dinner yet with his family, and I think that might be
I met Jerry's family yesterday. They're lovely.
Very nice people.
Lovely.
Don't want to spend time with me, but that's okay.
Bothering little Kirk.
Yeah, how did Trenny meet the family, but Kirk didn't? I didn't quite understand that.
I didn't hear about that until the show today, but I think Trenny's staying at our hotel, and I believe Jerry's family was by the pool, so she probably bumped into them there.
Okay.
So.
And Kirk disputes that your family is actually there. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to shield him from my wife, but they actually might be together right now.
Shield him or her from
both.
Okay.
I think the issue is that once you get into the middle of this week, the guys are like, "What are we going to do?" The next 3 days. So this camp is as dead as it gets.
Well,
I know
for
you that's impossible to believe.
Impossible. I will admit this part of camp's not my favorite. I like the games. I'll take a scrimmage game against Northeastern. You give me some action. Give me some C leaguers in there. That's fine. Come on. There's some developing storylines here. Even John Farrell nailed it today. Is it Pablo's job to win? Does he have to reclaim it? Jerry put the screws to him. That hard hitting question.
But that's Sandoval's job to lose. Correct.
It's his to reclaim.
To reclaim from whom? Travis Shaw's gone.
There was that uncomfortable silence. I think it was some great baseball talk today.
What did you think of the Farrell interview as a whole?
Awkward as hell, especially those questions that Kirk asked, but delightful in traditional Kirk and Callahan fashion. Put together a little montage of Jerry questions, which I'm sure will make Kirk happy, so we could play some of that here.
Obviously, David Ortiz is gone, and the obvious question is, what do you miss the most? You know who is coming into camp with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations, Benintendi. It's yeah, we know, everyone knows you like Chris Young, and he could platoon with either left or center, correct? Do you think Chris Sale is like a sure thing? Most of your guys ranked first in the division at their position. Bradley's second, Betts first. You think you're going to steal the thunder from Tom Brady and the Patriots? I mean, they haven't done much lately.
Jerry's going to love that.
Yeah.
And, I think, the thing with today's show was we had a bunch of little things, after we got into, we had the Northampton superintendent on and the whole high five program.
Up high or down low, Northampton police were giving kids high fives on Fridays at each elementary school from December until last week.
I thought the superintendent was going to be a little more feisty there. It was kind of, I don't know, the interview was fine, but he didn't really seem angry, and the guys, I mean, we were mocking him, but I don't know. What was your take of that?
He sparked the callers back anyway. It at least touched a nerve with some of the listeners, I think, which generated some calls, including the lesbian guy, which we'll play here.
It's complete ludicrous, and the fact that he's saying that some people are upset, there's probably a handful of people, 5 people, and I'm going to guess they're probably lesbians. And
yep, just like Trenny, yeah.
It's a huge issue in Northampton. They're all trying to push their own agenda.
God, you are horrible, horrible human being.
So I think it was worth it. At that point, we were kind of running on fumes.
Oh, no, I'm happy we did it. I was actually shocked that he got back to me on a vacation week nonetheless. So, but no, I think that literally is, insanity. So that was a good one to touch on. The other one that we didn't hit on today, which is a little bit of an old story, the tennis broadcaster who's suing ESPN.
I thought that was going to be in headlines.
You'll see Venus move in and put the gorilla effect on.
But then headlines went major audible at the last second.
Yeah, headlines went into me doing dip and it not being Kirk's job to get stories, and then Kirk and Jerry fighting over the interview with John Farrell.
Yeah, so how about this closet habit?
You want some headlines? Here's some headlines. I went to see Chris last night in the hotel lobby. He's in that room where it's 3,000 degrees. He's printing everything out for us. He's talking to us. Chris has a dip in his mouth while he's talking to me.
You chewing? Really?
Yes, I do that.
Is that how
sometimes.
you lost weight?
No, it's not how I lost weight. It's how I de-stress.
Idiot dips.
It's not something I'm proud of, but it calms me down. So, like, when I'm stressed about the show or I'm thinking about, 3,000 things, I put a lip in, sit down, read some stories.
Put a lip in?
Yeah.
When was the first time you dipped?
Oh, in college.
Back to the BC days. Some traumatic years.
The numbers on the score sheet are not kind. These are tough to digest if you're an Eagle fan. BC bench points, 2.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Yeah, I was during a road trip actually to Montreal. It was one of the first time I dipped.
Trying to impress a stripper or what?
It was. It was a trans stripper that I met at Club Super Sex.
Cisgender?
Not white, straight, cisgender.
Yeah, it was a cisgender. And it worked that night, so I figured, just stick with it. No, it's not. Believe me, if my wife, I'm sure if she heard the show today, she'll be livid. So,
she does not know about it, or that it's currently a habit.
It is currently. Well, no, she knows every time I do it, she gets angry. So it's now going to be a thing on the show. Whenever Kirk wants to piss me off, he'll mention it. It's like he does with Arcand or smoking or whatever. So that's life.
Why? I've had a terrible life!
We had Trey Wingo in the open. We never got to that. I guess that didn't tickle their fancy so much, the Peyton Manning talk.
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Who does Trey Wingo think is better?
Brady has had the greatest coach in the history of football.
You do think that Peyton Manning is...
I think an argument could be made. Whenever you and I made an appearance together, your first question was always, how's your son doing?
I don't know. When I heard that last night, when I saw Kirk in the lobby, I thought, that would be a topic today at some level. I think tomorrow, if we get this gentleman from Pittsburgh on, who's Steigerwald. So how did you work with this guy? You worked with him in Pittsburgh at the radio station?
Yeah, John Steigerwald. He and his brother Paul have been Pittsburgh sports anchors for a lot of years. Paul does the play-by-play for the Penguins on television. John goes back to the 70s. He used to do Channel 2, CBS. He was the local sports guy.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Actually, funny enough, he went to school with John Dennis.
John Dennis.
He and Dino were the same class at Kent State, so they know each other well over the years.
Oh, that's what it is, because we were thinking about, there was some history with this guy in the show. That's got to be what it is.
Yeah, he and Dino tweet back and forth. Stag, as we called him.
Oh, Stag.
He's Stag. We did shows together for many years at my last stop in Pittsburgh. Tim Benz took over for him. He left, and we brought Benz in. So he was like...
this guy was replaced by Tim Benz?
It freaking pisses me off.
Yeah, so we did... it was a three-man show, but he was in for like an hour. It was me and another dude, and then Stag came in for an hour, for the noon hour. He's got Jerry's politics, but he is definitely he's kind of a nut.
So who are you closer with, Stag or Madden?
I'm friendlier with Stag these days, just because we have a more recent history together.
And how do you think this interview would go if Stag came on? Is he a fighter? Is he a screamer?
He's a fighter, so he's got no problem arguing. I don't know how to go with Kirk and Jerry, though. That's, because those guys are... He got in trouble once... You remember the whole, who's the guy that got beat up outside of Dodger Stadium?
Well, there was the fan who got,
there
was the
fan.
Giants and the Dodgers.
Giants.
They had the big brawl in the crowd,
right.
Outside in the parking lot, right, where the guy was like clinging to his life or something.
Right.
I know what you're talking about. I know his name's out there. I can't remember his name. Yes, but I know of what you speak.
Okay, so that guy was wearing a jersey. One of Stag's main motifs is anybody who wears a jersey who's an adult deserves what they get. So he was on Inside Edition, and they did a hatchet job on him when he was on, and so he hates hatchet jobs. He likes to get he wants his share of chance to make his point. He's so I could see him struggling to get a word in edgewise tomorrow. It could be awkward in that sense.
Yeah,
and he's like a Bradshaw guy, and so he's an old school football guy from that standpoint. So
well,
that's why
his story is just absurd. I mean, he's doing whatever.
He's a Tom Brady hater. He's been for years. He diminishes not only Brady but modern day quarterbacks, Roethlisberger included, the dink and dunk quarterbacks. He calls it the short pass era. So
yeah, if there's anything that's gotten worse over time, it's quarterback play.
Well, see, his thing is that old school quarterbacks didn't have offensive coordinators. They were calling plays themselves, and they could do everything that these modern-day quarterbacks could. He's a stubborn old guy, so it's not going to go very far from that sense.
No, but I think it'll be good. I mean, if he likes to fight, and it'll be a
it's worth having him on. We'll see how it goes. Yeah,
contentious interview. And we have Chris Sale tomorrow. So Jerry's already asked Kirk to wear a old school jersey, throwback. For the discussion. We're told by several people that Sale is playing along a bit and has been one of the better guys to speak to down here, so that should be good.
What else do we have set for the week?
Oh, what a diving catch here, Ken. Oh, man.
Oh, by who?
Benintendi.
Of course.
Oh, and there's Jerry picking him up off the ground. What a nice guy.
I call him Benny, personally. Benny Baseball, okay?
Oh, man. They want Benintendi on, so maybe we'll have him on before the end of the week.
He's not much of a verbose quote, I will say. But
I've also heard that. But I wonder who his first interview was with.
Last year, thanks to Brian Abraham, my good buddy, it was this guy right here.
Maybe Ken Laird can speak to this better than I can. But
I'm getting dinner tonight with the Red Sox PR staff.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh. Oh, Pete Abe was in the. Oh man, he gave me a death stare. I walked into the media room. He's sat in there, and he's got these massive headphones on.
So I'm here with Pete Abrams, and we are watching field practice today.
And he's already got a pretty big head, and he's just sitting there, and I'm just like, I walk in, and he's sitting right, of course, next to the fridge. I'm not judging. Yeah, it's my cheat day. And he just looks down at me. I thought he was going to huck a loogie on my head. He's just got these, like, Beats by Dre, but bigger headphones on. I don't know what the hell he was listening to.
How did Trenny do today for the 2 hours? She fought a bit there. They didn't really. They could have kept putting the screws to her, but they let up after a while.
That's not your job, right? You don't care.
I know, but kill me for being empathetic. That's just who I am.
But you can't be in that. You shouldn't be in this job,
but
right?
Yeah, I think the fact that she came in and didn't fall on the sword, but it wasn't adversarial at the start of it, and I think the stuff with Swihart, if that were a bigger story, I think the guys would have gotten a little more on her case, but I don't think anybody gives a shit about Swihart having the yips.
Bite
you know
your tongue, man.
Okay, outside of Ken Laird and who's that, Dan Roach,
There was stretching, throwing, ground ball work, pitching off bullpen mound, batting practice, and it finished off with conditioning.
Yeah, I thought Trenny was good. I don't think the top of that 8 o'clock hour was as combative as we might have hoped. I don't know. I don't think either side was as geeked up for it today as they were yesterday. And but I thought Trenny was great. She talked about making out with chicks for money in college.
Yeah, that was solid.
I'm not just sorry.
You've never ever done that.
No.
Drunk makeout session, nothing.
No. Huh. I mean, one time for money in college.
Have you met Gary?
Wait, whoa, hold on. What? What do you mean one time for money in college?
Yeah, back in college, you would be like, "Hey, we'll make out for $10."
Oh, okay. Yeah. Jerry did that at UMass.
Who pays the money?
I don't know, some idiots at the bars. But that's I've never
Really?
gone there with a girl. No, I prefer boys. Sorry,
Yeah, so
I
do
like
I.
dudes.
Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
You like what?
I like dudes. I like
Oh, I
guys.
thought you said something else.
You're,
All right,
you're a
Did you think I said I
dinosaur.
like D's?
Yes.
I do like D's.
You're a dinosaur.
She was actually good with Provost from the Northampton schools because she sort of brought it in, but was also critical. So I think it had that interview had the capability of sort of getting out of hand with Kirk and Jerry just mocking him. And I thought she was actually good because she forced him to answer a couple questions. So that was good.
All right, well, good luck representing KNC tonight with the Red Sox brass. You will have some groveling to do. You'll have some apologizing for the John Farrell interview, if nothing else.
Yes, and I'm happy to note that neither Kirk or Jerry will be joining me. So it's just me and the Red Sox tonight. And I will report back on whether or not we're going to get David Price, John Henry, or more importantly, Brian Abraham on the show tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good.
Talk to you soon, bud.